that the Son of God might be glorified thereby or through it. See, sometimes we go through so that God can get the glory. Right. Listen, your deliverance was already designed when the problem showed up. Y'all didn't catch that. Listen, when the play at hand. See that coming? No, it don't work like that. In the volume of the book in Job, it says, and the sons of God came, and Satan came also in that first chapter. Y'all remember that? And then it says, you can try my servant Job. And I know he went on to talk about, and the reason he allowed Satan to try Job was because he knew that Job wasn't going to turn his back on him. How many of us can God trust that way? That God just knows. Now, Jesus loved Martha and her sister Lazarus. God didn't move. Y'all pay attention to that. Amen. Verse 7, then after that, saith he to his disciples, let us go again. His disciples said to him, Master, the Jews are late sought to stone thee. Goest thou thither again? Jesus answered, are there not 12 hours in a day? If any man walk in the day, he stumbleth not, because he seeth the light of this world. But if a man walk in the night, he stumbleth, because there is no light. These things he said. After that he said unto them, our friend Lazarus sleepeth, but I go that I may awake him out of his sleep. In other words, God is doing two things here, juxtaposition. And another thing God's letting you know that I'm going to move when I get ready to move. Listen, Mother, there's nothing we can do to rush God. You can't, I love that one. Mother said, you can't hurry God. That's that good old school gospel. You can't hurry God. You can't hurry God. He's going to move just when he get ready to move. But it's for us to say, okay, God, when you get ready, I'm ready. I felt that thing. God, when you get ready, I'm ready. God, when you get ready to say go, I'm ready to say go. God, when you say go, I'm ready. Old school said, you can't hurry God. You're not going to rush it. But you got to understand that the deliverance is in his hand. Or can we say it like this? The deliverance is at hand. The deliverance is at hand. All you got to do is trust him. Then he went on to say, he's asleep. In other words, he wasn't looking at the problem the way we would look at it. Because we look at certain problems and it's life and death. It's life and death. God, if you don't come, I just don't know. I ain't going to make it in the next 10 minutes, God, if you don't show up, God. I'm about to leave. Ain't nothing wrong with you. You just being drunk. Go put on you some good gospel music. Go get some good church music. Get in some praise and worship. And I guarantee you, everything going to be all right. But we just want to try to hurry God and push God forward. You're not going to hurry God. Verse 12. Then said his disciples, Lord, if he sleep, he shall do well. How we just spake of his death, but they thought that he had spoken of taking a rest and sleep. Then Jesus said unto them plainly, Lazarus is dead. So what he was doing there, he was letting them know, you see Lazarus is dead. I see Lazarus asleep. You call it dead, I call it sleep. You call it broken, I call it fixed. All right. You call it over, I call it just getting started. You say God ain't nothing going to be done, and God says, I'm moving back. We got to start looking at things the way God would look at it. Brother, it ain't never over till God says it's over. It ain't done till God says it's done. It ain't finished till God says it's finished. Whatever door that God opens, can't no man shut. And whatever door that God shuts, can't no man open. So we got to understand that we are in the power of God's hand. And everything's going to work out according to those that what? Love him. It's going to work out according to those that what? Love him. All things work out according to those who what? Love God. It's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. COVID came and cleaned out the church with all those people that said, we love you, God. Oh, boy. Oh, what kind of love is that? Don't even show up no more. 15, and I am glad for your sakes that I was not there to the intent that you may believe, and nevertheless let us go unto him. So what Jesus is saying here, I'm glad it happened. Can you believe that Jesus said, I'm glad that Lazarus is sleeping? He said, I'm glad it happened. Why? Because God's going to get the glory out of the story. Why are we so intent on throwing in the towel when God is going to get the glory out of the story? We're so intent on throwing in the towel. Dr. Rose, we're ready to give it up. Mother, we're ready to give it up. God's going to get the glory. It's okay. Then said Thomas, which is called Didymus, unto his fellow disciples, let us also go that way we may die with him. Then when Jesus came, he found that he had lain in the grave 4 days already. So we have, I just want to ask that, I'm preaching, can I just do a little teaching? You know, I don't know everything, I just know a little bit, Dr. DeBoe. But I found when 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, then God said I'll be in the middle. Nurse, can you help me out? The volume of the book told me that body been in the grave 4 days. So we already hit decomposition, right? Yes, sir. The body will start breaking down. Body ready to see. And my grandmother, the liquids will start coming.
In addition to the body breaking down, there have been no brain activity.
See, I didn't even think of that. Look at what the nurse said. So that situation looks like it's done.
Yes, sir.
We'll look at that situation and say, I can't do nothing with it. The nurse said, no brain. I didn't even think about it. Thank you, mother. No brain activity. You know that little line is, that's that brain activity. And she said, it ain't been done for 4 days. Come on, let's see what God did. Let's see what God said. 18. Now, Bethany was nigh unto Jerusalem, about 15 furlongs, and many of the Jews came to Martha and Mary to confront them concerning their brother. Then Martha, as soon as she heard the Jews coming, went and met him, but Mary sat still in the house. Then said Martha unto Jesus, Lord, if thou hadst been here, my brother had not died. If you had been here when I called, remember she sent word in the beginning of what we began to read, and then she sees Jesus said, if you had came when I called, my brother wouldn't have been in this condition. Listen, we are ready to blame stuff on God. Just be still and watch God. I ain't playing. Close them out, wait on God. It's still going to be all right. The song says, any day now. Any day now. We got to get that in us. Any day now. 22, but I know that even now, whatsoever. 23, Jesus said to her, thy brother shall rise again. 24, Martha said unto him, I know that he shall rise again in the resurrection at the last day. So here he is in verse 21, she's doubting God. 22, she's believing God. 23, she's Jesus said to her, thy brother shall rise again. She's back to doubting God. All in those short little, that's unwavering faith. That's unwavering faith. Either you're going to believe or you're not. Faith. He's going to rise again last day of the rest. I didn't say that. I said he's going to rise again. Why y'all trying to put words in God's mouth? Y'all go to pray and tell God what to do. God, I want you to bless me with a car, and I want a 23, and I want it red with all these options in it, God, and this is the checklist, God, and when you move, God, this is how I want it. Wait a minute. Are we putting an order in at IHOP, or what are we praying? What is we doing? What are we doing? Ask God and be still and wait. 25 says, Jesus said unto her, I am the resurrection and what? And the life. And he that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. And 26 it said, whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. believest thou this? 27, she said to him, Yea, Lord, I believe that thou art the Christ, the Son of God, which should come into the world. And when she had so said, she went her way and called Mary, her sister, secretly, saying, The Master is come, calleth for thee. And as soon as she heard that, she rose quickly and came unto him. Now Jesus was not yet come to the town, but was in that place where Martha met him. Then the Jews which were with her in the house confronted her, which they saw Mary, and she rose up hastily and went out and followed her, saying, She goeth unto the grave to weep. Then when Mary was come where Jesus was and saw she fell down at his feet, saying unto him, Lord, if thou hadst been here we go again, my brother would not have died. When Jesus therefore saw her weeping, and the Jews also weeping, which came with her, he groaned in the spirit and was troubled. Jesus groaned in the spirit and was troubled. And he said, Where have ye laid him? I want to go back up 33 real quickly, and it says, When Jesus therefore saw her weeping, and the Jews also weeping, which came with her. Listen, there were some people crying along with her because they had the same thought process that it was over. Is that all right? Stop telling everybody your business. If you got something that God has told you, and you hold on to that until it comes to pass. Stop calling people, telling them, God say, but you're going to call somebody and say, girl, ain't nobody going to bless you with no God. And then you're going to allow that doubt to enter into your spirit, which then is going to kill your blessing that God has promised you. So you killed your own blessing by hanging out with the wrong crowd. Mother, when I was coming up as a child, I could hear my mama always saying, because when I got with that wrong crowd, there they go, the old mothers had them saying. And she used to tell me all the time, Dr. DeBoe, she used to say, birds of a feather. And she used to burn me up when she said it, but back then we ain't saying it to our mothers like that. I just shook my head and went on in my room. But now that I have the understanding of the gospel, I understand what she's talking about. I understand. If I'm trying to lose weight, I don't need to be with a bunch of people that's doing a lot of eating that I'm not going to be able to eat. Because Mother said earlier, going back to Sunday school, either you're going to draw them or they're going to draw you. It's going to be a one or two thing. So Mary, she had a bunch of mourners with her that was patting her on the back, like, it's going to be all right. In other words, they said, give up. Everybody pat her, give up. It's going to be all right. Jesus, he just did it. Everybody whispering in your ear all this doubt, whispering in your ear all these problems, whispering in your ear all these things that's not going to come to pass. But what happened to the faith walkers? What happened to the faith believers? What happened to the ones that say, God, I know? 34, and said, Where have ye laid him? They said unto him, Lord, come and see. Jesus wept. That's 35 when he cried. Y'all remember that, Jesus? The first verse that most of us learned, 35, Jesus wept. And then, you know what the funny thing about that is, some of us still can't quote that one because it's too many words. Then said the Jews, Behold how he loved him. And some of them could not this man, which opened the eyes of the blind, have caused that even this man should not have died. Jesus therefore again, groaning his way coming to the grave, it was a cave, and a stone lay upon it. Jesus said, Take ye the stone away. I remember the nurse said that there was no brain activity for at least 4 days. And when we get to this verse, I believe there was another day in there when you do the theological study, but we're going to say at least 4 days. Martha, the sister of him that was dead, said to him, Lord, by this time he stinketh, for he had been dead 4 days. No brain activity. They called you dead. Hey, listen, has anybody ever told you that you would never amount to nothing? Has anybody ever told you that you would never have nothing? Has anybody told you that you're not going to be who you say God's going to say you're going to be? Has anybody ever doubted you and told you that no, you never going to be that? when you say, listen, I'm going to get a better job, and they say you don't have the degrees for that, but God somehow when you walk in the interview room gives you something we call old school church favor. Listen, yeah, they may have had a better degree than you, and they may have went to a better name college than you, but it's just something about that favor. It's something about that favor. When you walk in the door, now, just something about that favor. Is that all right? It's just something about that favor. It's just something about that favor. Is that all right? It's just something about, listen. There's something about that favor. So he had been dead 4 days. You said, I said unto thee, that thou wouldest believe thou shouldest see the glory of God. Then they took away the stone from the place where the dead was laid, and Jesus lifted up his eyes and said, Father, I thank thee that thou hast heard me. He's praying now. He says, God, I thank you that you listened to me. And 42 says, and I know that thou hearest me always, but because of the people which stand by, I said it, that they may believe that thou hast sent me. And when he had thus spoken, he cried with a loud voice, Lazarus, come forth. And I'm going to stop it right there for the sake of time. Well, let's go to 44. And that he was dead, and he that was dead came forth, bound hand and foot with grave clothes, and his face was bound about with a napkin. Jesus said unto him, loose him and let him go. We're going to stop it right there. Everything that had you bound, that was killing you, God said, loose you and let him go. Listen, it had you bound, but God said, loose here. Old school church, they say loose here. Is that all right? Old school say loose here. It had you bound. Listen, education shouldn't have you bound. Loose here. Listen, finances shouldn't have you bound. Loose here. God has everything under control. Listen, when you don't have whatever you need to make your goal, depend on God. When there's a gap in there right there, depend on God. Everything gonna be all right. You can't hurry God, you can't rush God, but just know that God has your best interest at heart. Everything gonna work out according to his plan. Everything will work out according to those who are called according to his purpose. Everything's going to work out according to his plan. Is that all right? Everything's going to work out. See, listen, I don't go into battle talking about, well, I don't know when I'm going to get out. I go into the battle thinking, well, I wonder how long will it be before I get my victory. I'm going into the battle already knowing that I have the victory. Already knowing that I have the victory. Already knowing that it has been worked out. Already knowing that God has everything under control. Already knowing that God is moving on my behalf. Already knowing that God is to be glorified. Already knowing that God, you are awesome. That God, you have everything under control. Give me a little bit about it on music. That God, you have everything under control.
Amen.
God, you have everything under control. The song said, you made a way out of nowhere. You made a way out of nowhere. You made a way out of nowhere. You made a